The day everything changed began like every other day he had survived by force of habit and quiet endurance, except this time the air itself seemed heavier, as if the world was holding its breath. The janitor's cart squeaked down the marble hallway of the tallest corporate tower in the city, its wheels echoing against walls polished by wealth and power. Nathan Cole pushed it forward with tired hands, his shoulders slumped not from laziness but from years of carrying responsibilities no one applauded. He was a single father, a widower, a man stitched together by duty and exhaustion, and in that moment, he had no idea that the life he had accepted as unchangeable was about to collide with a truth so powerful it would silence every laugh ever aimed at him. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that life can surprise us when we least expect it, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, subscribe to the channel for more stories like this, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Your support means more than you know. Nathan had once been someone else. Years earlier, his hands had been clean, his clothes pressed, his future carefully planned. He had studied engineering, married the woman he loved, and believed that hard work naturally led to stability. Then life shattered that belief in one cruel season. His wife, Emily, died after a sudden illness that devoured her strength faster than doctors could name it. Hospital bills swallowed their savings. Grief swallowed Nathan. Overnight, he became both mother and father to their infant son, Leo, while the world kept spinning as if nothing sacred had been broken. He lost his job after missing too many days, lost his apartment, and lost the version of himself that used to dream. The janitor job came not as an opportunity but as a lifeline, something that paid just enough to keep food on the table and a small rented room warm enough at night. Every morning before sunrise, Nathan packed Leo's lunch, kissed his forehead while the boy still slept, and left him with a neighbor who charged less than daycare but cared just as little. Nathan cleaned floors others walked on without looking down. He emptied trash cans filled with discarded luxury. He scrubbed bathrooms used by executives who complained if the mirror wasn't spotless. And through it all, he endured the looks. The whispers. The quiet laughs from younger employees who saw only a janitor and never a man who had once loved deeply, lost painfully, and kept going anyway. The building was owned by a global conglomerate, a symbol of success featured in business magazines. Its CEO, Victoria Hale, was a legend in her own time. A self-made billionaire, she was known for ruthless intelligence, grace under pressure, and a private life so sealed that gossip rarely survived without facts. Employees spoke her name with a mixture of awe and fear. Nathan had seen her only from afar, passing through the lobby surrounded by assistants, her presence changing the energy of a room the way a storm changes the sky. He never imagined his life had anything to do with hers. On that particular day, Nathan was assigned to clean the executive floor, a place of glass walls, quiet tension, and polished egos. His uniform was worn, his shoes scuffed. As he wiped fingerprints from a conference table, a group of executives lingered nearby, unaware or unconcerned that he could hear them. Their laughter was light, careless, sharpened by privilege. They spoke of mergers, bonuses, and inconvenience, and then their attention drifted to him. A single dad janitor, they assumed, judging by the small superhero sticker on his water bottle. They mocked quietly at first, then less discreetly, making comments about wasted potential, about how some people were born to clean up after others. None of them knew that each word landed like a familiar bruise. Nathan kept his head down, because dignity had taught him that silence was sometimes the only armor left. What they did not notice was the elevator doors opening at the far end of the hall. Victoria Hale stepped out, unannounced, her heels clicking softly against the floor Nathan had just cleaned. She took in the scene in seconds, her sharp eyes registering the laughter, the body language, the way the janitor's shoulders stiffened. She did not interrupt immediately. She watched. And in that pause, something ancient and buried stirred behind her composed expression. Years ago, before the billions, before the headlines, Victoria had been someone else too. She had loved a man named Nathan Cole. He was brilliant, gentle, endlessly patient. When she had chased ambition, he had supported her dreams even as they pulled them apart. Their separation had been quiet, mutual, and painful in a way neither fully healed from. When tragedy struck his life later, news reached her too late, filtered through mutual acquaintances and regret. She had searched for him once, unsuccessfully, then buried that chapter beneath work and success. Seeing him now, older, thinner, marked by hardship, cracked something she had built her empire to protect. The executives finally noticed her presence when the atmosphere shifted. Laughter died. Faces paled. Nathan sensed it too but did not look up until her shadow crossed the floor beside him. Time slowed, the way it does before impact. Recognition passed between them without words. His heart stuttered. Hers clenched. Years of silence, loss, and unanswered questions hovered in that charged space. When Victoria spoke, her voice was calm but carried an authority that bent the room. She asked who he was, why he was there, and before anyone could explain, she stated a truth that froze every mocking smile and rewrote the narrative of the room. She declared that the man they were laughing at was her husband. Not a metaphor. Not a figure of speech. A statement of fact, layered with history and intention. Shock rippled outward. The executives scrambled internally, recalculating everything they thought they knew. Nathan stood frozen, disbelief and emotion crashing together in his chest. He had no time to process the implications before Victoria continued, addressing the room not with anger but with a disappointment far more terrifying. She spoke of respect, of humanity, of how easily people forgot that titles did not measure worth. She made it clear that anyone who looked down on honest work had no place in her company. Careers ended quietly that day, not with shouting but with the cold efficiency of consequences. Nathan's life did not change instantly in the way movies pretend it does. He did not become wealthy overnight, nor did his pain evaporate. But doors opened. Conversations happened. Victoria insisted on talking, on listening, on understanding the years she had missed. She met Leo, saw her former love mirrored in the boy's shy smile and stubborn resilience. She offered support not as a savior, but as someone willing to walk beside him. Nathan struggled with pride and fear. Accepting help felt like weakness after surviving alone for so long. But slowly, trust returned. He moved into a modest apartment closer to Leo's school. He enrolled in night classes to refresh his engineering skills. Victoria did not hand him a position, she gave him opportunity, mentorship, and the space to reclaim himself. Their relationship rebuilt not on nostalgia, but on honesty, grief shared, and growth earned. The building's hallways no longer echoed with mockery when Nathan passed. Some people looked away, ashamed. Others nodded with respect. He still worked hard, still remembered where he came from, and still cleaned floors when needed, because humility had become part of his strength. Leo thrived, no longer waiting alone at night, no longer sensing the quiet desperation children understand without words. Near the end of this story, before the final moments settle into your heart, please tell us in the comments what part of this journey moved you the most and why your voice matters here. Years later, when people told the story, they often focused on the dramatic declaration, the moment power spoke up for dignity. But the real miracle was quieter. It was a man learning that his worth had never been erased by hardship. It was a woman realizing that success meant nothing if it could not be used to protect humanity. It was a child growing up knowing that love could survive loss and still find its way home. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you to look twice at the people the world overlooks, please like this video, share it, and stay connected with the channel. Your engagement helps stories like this reach others who need hope, healing, and the courage to believe that no matter how far life pushes you down, your story is not over. And remember, sometimes the most powerful words in the world are not spoken to impress, but to defend the quiet dignity of someone who never stopped trying to stand.